911, what is your emergency?
911. I woke up on my boyfriend here. He was outside this morning. He's cold. He was just drinking. He's cold.
Hello?
I need paramedic.
On that fateful morning of October 18th, 2019, the sun had barely risen over the sleepy town of Riverview, Florida, when Melissa Turner was confronted with a sight that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Her fiancé, Matthew Trussler, lay lifeless outside on the patio, his body motionless and cold. As Melissa rushed to his side, she felt a shiver run down her spine. The love of her life was gone, and she knew in her heart that something was dreadfully wrong. She tried to revive him with CPR, but it was too late. He was already gone. Despite her frantic attempts to save him, there was a nagging sense that she knew more than what she was letting on. Something was amiss, and the authorities were quick to catch on. Recorded footage showed that Melissa was not as clueless as she had pretended to be. As the investigation deepened, the secrets and lies that had been buried beneath the surface began to unravel. And as the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, the shocking truth was finally revealed. But before we dive into the video, if you're a fan of stories about the darker side of our universe, then do yourself a favor and smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Let's get into today's story. Melissa Rose Turner was born on November 25th, 1992. Growing up in Florida, she enjoyed typical activities such as watching Baywatch and Evil Dead 2 and had a passion for horror films and fantasy. However, her weight was a source of great sadness to her, as she had surpassed 250 pounds or 114 kilograms by her late teens. Despite this, Melissa had a generally comfortable upbringing. Tragically, Melissa's weight had shattered her self-confidence and robbed her of opportunities to indulge in her passions, such as cosplaying. Cosplaying, for the uninitiated, involves dressing up in intricate costumes and accessories to embody fictional characters. By the tender age of 18, Melissa's life had become a miserable existence, plagued by a multitude of reasons, not least of which was her weight, which had become a formidable obstacle to her happiness. A momentous decision had been made. With unyielding determination, Melissa resolved to tackle her problems head-on. Summoning every ounce of courage within her, she embarked on a radical transformation of her diet and lifestyle. Fueled by a thirst for knowledge, she pored over blogs, forums, and articles to gain a deeper understanding of health and nutrition. Through sheer grit and perseverance, Melissa underwent a remarkable transformation, shedding an astounding 90 pounds in just 2 years. From her heaviest weight of 250 pounds in 2011, she triumphantly slimmed down to 160 pounds by 2013. With the transformation of Melissa's body, she regained confidence and met a man who went by the online name of Sin. This was Melissa's first serious relationship. Not content with just transforming her physical appearance, Melissa also honed her craft as a special effects and makeup artist, elevating her skills to a professional level. With newfound confidence, she finally had the courage to indulge in her love of cosplay, donning elaborate costumes to bring her favorite fictional characters to life. As Melissa's transformation continued to take hold, she inevitably drew more attention, both online and in person. The outpouring of positive comments about her appearance was a welcome change from the negativity she had endured in the past. It was a powerful affirmation of her journey, and with each passing day, her confidence grew stronger and more unshakable. By the time 2014 arrived, Melissa was virtually unrecognizable. With a newfound confidence and sense of self-worth, she had found love with a new boyfriend and embraced a whole new social circle. It was at one of the parties thrown by her new friends that Melissa was introduced to a woman who had a rather unique profession. She was a cam girl. Despite any reservations she may have initially had, Melissa was fascinated by the woman's work and intrigued by the idea of exploring her own sexuality similarly. In typical Melissa fashion, she wasted no time in pursuing her newfound interest in camming. With her part-time jobs at Great American Cookies and Haagen-Dazs providing little in the way of career prospects, she saw camming as a potential path to financial stability and fulfillment. As time went on, Melissa's channels continued to grow and flourish, attracting a devoted following of fans who admired her beauty, intelligence, and wit. However, as she grew older and the industry began to shift, she realized that she needed to adapt and evolve if she was to stay relevant. Despite her success as a cam girl, Melissa recognized that she needed to try something new in order to continue growing and exploring new avenues of self-expression. Drawing on her lifelong love of horror and cosplay, Melissa poured herself into this new venture, working tirelessly to craft films that were both erotic and artistic, exploring the boundaries of what was possible within the world of adult entertainment. She launched her own independent website, twethornedrose.com, and began promoting her work on various online platforms, building a loyal following of fans who appreciated her unique style and sensibility. As her success grew, Melissa realized that she could further monetize her content by launching her own Patreon page, offering exclusive content and behind-the-scenes access to her most devoted fans. With each passing day, she continued to push herself to new heights, always seeking out new ways to express herself and connect with her audience. For Melissa, the world of adult entertainment was not just a career, but a passion and a calling, and she was determined to make the most of every opportunity that came her way. The couple had created a thriving business from the comfort of their own home, but as time went on, it became clear that the lion's share of the work was falling on Melissa's shoulders. To make matters worse, their relationship was plagued by frequent arguments and even allegations of abuse, creating an atmosphere of tension and distrust. Despite her best efforts, Melissa was unable to salvage the relationship, and eventually, she and Sin went their separate ways. For Melissa, this was a devastating blow, not only emotionally, but also financially. The business they had built together collapsed, leaving her to fend for herself at a time when she was already struggling to keep her head above water. During the summer of 2017, Melissa's life took an unexpected turn when she met and fell in love with Matthew Trussler. Unlike Melissa, who had grown up in the humid climate of Florida, Matthew had been raised in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, a world away from her own. He was born on January 11th, 1994, making him 2 years younger than Melissa. Hopkinton is a small town with a population of around 18,000 people. While it might not be the most exciting place to live, it was home to Matthew Trussler, a hardworking and fun-loving guy. Matthew was a deeply caring individual with a strong bond with both his friends and family. In 2015, Matthew reached a tipping point and decided to leave his old life behind. With his brother Sean already residing in Florida, Matthew decided to move to Tampa Bay. This move not only allowed him to spend more time with his brother, but also provided him with access to more lucrative and exciting job opportunities. Soon he found himself employed at Lantern Energy, a technology company, and eventually moved on to a new position at Elite Foam, a company that specializes in residential housing insulation. Christmas of 2018 marked a significant milestone in Matthew and Melissa's lives, as it was the time when they finally met each other. It was love at first sight for the couple. Matthew even appeared in a few of Melissa's videos, which seemed to indicate a healthy start to their relationship. Although their social media accounts portrayed a perfect relationship, it was later revealed that Matthew and Melissa had their fair share of issues. Reports suggested that the couple frequently argued, and Matthew began to distance himself from his friends and family. Sean, Matthew's brother, even described their relationship as toxic, and neighbors reported frequent shouting matches. That was when, on October 18th, 2019, the situation escalated from bad to worse. Matthew was dead. Melissa made a distress call to the emergency services. When they arrived at the Turner Trussler house, they found a gruesome scene. There, Melissa had discovered her boyfriend, Matthew Trussler, lying lifeless on the patio. Despite her desperate attempts to resuscitate him, he remained unresponsive. Upon arriving at the scene, first responders immediately noticed that Matthew had been deceased for a significant amount of time. His body was devoid of color and had already shown signs of rigor mortis. The extent of the attack on Matthew was evident as he had suffered a deep wound in the middle of his back, accompanied by several punctures and lacerations. Defensive wounds were also observed on his arms, indicating a brutal assault. Melissa was left devastated and traumatized, struggling to cope with the shock of the incident. While at the scene, Melissa initially stated to officers that she found Matthew dead in the garden. After being brought to the police station for questioning, Melissa's original story began to unravel. Instead of finding Matthew outside, as she had initially claimed, she now stated that he had returned home drunk in the early morning hours of October 18th after a night of heavy drinking. This led to an argument between the couple, during which Matthew allegedly assaulted Melissa and hit her multiple times. The situation quickly escalated when Matthew lunged at Melissa with a kitchen knife. She had tried to take control of the knife but ended up injuring her hand. Matthew then proceeded to strangle Melissa after throwing her to the ground. Melissa claimed that she acted purely in self-defense when she plunged a knife into Matthew's back. Officers were troubled by Melissa's revised statement as it contradicted the physical evidence at the scene. Matthew had multiple injuries, some of which appeared to be defensive wounds, while Melissa's hand injury was consistent with the motion of holding a knife. As the investigation progressed, police officers made a chilling discovery. A Nest camera on a neighboring property had captured footage of Melissa and Matthew's home, including the patio where Matthew's body was found. The camera was perfectly positioned near the front door, but the view was obstructed by the couple's fence. If only the fence wasn't there, the camera would have captured crucial evidence. At the time of the altercation, a nearby home surveillance camera was able to capture audio of the incident. The heated argument between the couple could be heard, with Melissa expressing her hatred toward Matthew and the sound of glass breaking in the background. Matthew's voice can also be identified in the footage, followed by scuffling noises, and finally, you can hear Melissa saying, "What did I do?" Strangely enough, Matthew's smartwatch was also synced with the surveillance footage, as his heart rate stopped at the exact moment after the scuffle. Melissa's actions left no doubts in the minds of investigators that she had killed Matthew. The only question was whether it was an act of self-defense or cold-blooded murder. Her delay in calling emergency services for a staggering 4 hours revealed a chilling intention, one that suggested a premeditated plan to cover up the crime. As a result, Melissa was taken into custody and formally charged with the suspicion of murdering Matthew Trussler. The once perfect relationship had turned into a tragic nightmare. The verdict was in, and it was clear. Melissa Turner had taken the life of her boyfriend, Matthew Trussler. The courtroom was silent as the judge delivered the sentence: second-degree murder, a heinous crime that could be punishable by up to life imprisonment. Melissa's fate was now sealed, but she was only sentenced to 20 years and 6 months behind bars. Matthew's life was brutally cut short by the one person he trusted and loved the most. There was no evidence to suggest that he posed any threat to Melissa or that he had ever been abusive toward her. The tragedy of his death would haunt his family and friends forever. A cruel reminder that sometimes the ones we love can be the ones who hurt us the most. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. We post new stories every week covering the darker side of our universe. If you want to see more videos like this, then I highly recommend that you click the video now on screen. That video has been selected specifically for you. Enjoy.